All right, let's dive into this. Sardinian wine, huh? Sounds like someone's feeling adventurous.
It's a great choice, really. There's so much to discover with these wines.
Yeah, and you've given us quite the reading list to help us out. Excerpts from this book, Sardinia, it looks like, and a whole stack of articles.
Yeah, I figured we could use those to really dig into what sets these wines apart and why they're getting so much attention lately,
Yeah.
globally even.
Right. Yeah. It seems like they're having a bit of a moment, and I'm excited to learn more. I mean, I always love a good wine story.
You'll get plenty of those here. I mean, just imagine this little island in the Mediterranean, but with a winemaking history stretching back like 3,000 years.
Wow. Okay. That's putting some of the more, I guess, well-known wine regions to shame.
Right. We're talking about the ancient Nuragic civilization. Around 1000 BC, they were already cultivating grapes, making wine.
So, I mean, were they just kind of doing their own thing back then?
Yeah.
Developing these unique styles in isolation?
Well, they definitely had some influence from the Phoenicians and later the Romans. Brought in new grapes, techniques, all that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. It's hard to stay completely isolated, I guess, especially in that part of the world.
But here's the thing, right? Unlike mainland Italy, which really embraced a lot of those international varieties, Sardinia, they really stuck to their native grapes.
Interesting. So that's why you get that distinct Sardinian character.
Exactly. You taste it in the wines, that connection to the land, to their heritage. It's amazing.
Okay, so we've got the historical background, but what about the land itself? How does the, what's it called, the terroir, how does that play into these unique flavors we're talking about?
Oh man, the Sardinian terroir is something else. You've got this intense Mediterranean sun, but also these winds, the Mistral and Sirocco whipping through the vineyards.
So it's not just sunshine and beaches over
No,
there.
sir, no, sir. These grapes, they get sun-drenched, ripen beautifully, but then those cool night breezes come in, preserve the acidity, gives the wines balance.
I see. Yeah, you need that contrast. So it's all about like finding that harmony, I guess, between those elements.
Exactly. And then, of course, you've got the soil. Volcanic, granitic, limestone, even sandy beaches. Each one adding its own layer of complexity.
Okay, so it's really a symphony of elements all coming together, kind of like the wine itself, I guess.
That's a great way to put it. You can really taste that complexity in the final product.
All right, so let's talk specifics then. What are some of these, I guess, star grapes that make Sardinian wine so unique?
Let's start with the reds. Cannonau, that's the king, the most widely planted grape. Bold, robust. Think like a ripe cherry with a dash of spice.
Ooh, okay, I'm already intrigued. That sounds right up my alley.
And it ages beautifully. Over time, you get these leathery tobacco notes, almost like a fine cigar.
Wow, that's quite a transformation.
Yeah.
Now I'm really curious.
Yeah, it's something special. And then you've got Carignano, originally from Spain, but it just thrives in Sardinia. Volcanic soil gives it this deep, earthy character, almost primal, layered over those rich blackberry fruit flavors.
So we've got the bold, the earthy, almost like two sides of the same coin, it sounds like.
And as it ages, that Carignano, it develops this really interesting, leathery, smoky complexity. Really unique.
So lots of like big, powerful flavors happening here. Anything a little lighter on the Sardinian red spectrum?
Oh, absolutely. If you're looking for something a bit more everyday, approachable, there's Monica. Fresh, fruity, think strawberries with a touch of floral.
Okay, that sounds like it could be dangerous. Like the kind of wine you open a bottle of and suddenly it's gone.
Yeah, it can be easy to drink and to really showcase the diversity. We have to mention Bovale Sardo, deep black fruit, licorice spice. And then there's this rare one, Giro, a lighter, delicate red. Hard to find, but worth seeking out.
Okay, you've definitely piqued my curiosity about those reds, but now we got to talk about the whites.
Right.
Do they have that same kind of Sardinian soul, as you put it?
Oh, yeah, they definitely do. Vermentino, that's the one you've probably heard of, captures the essence of the island, bright citrus notes, almost this like taste of the sea breeze.
That's the one I was thinking of. Sounds refreshing.
Yeah, it's crisp, clean, perfect for seafood. Now, if you want something super refreshing, like lemonade on a hot summer day, there's Narcus, ancient grape, simple, delicious.
I'll have to try that one. Anything else unique on the white side? Something a little more off the beaten path, maybe?
Oh, you gotta try Vernacia di Orstano. This one's completely different.
Okay, I'm all ears. What makes it so different?
It's got this like oxidative character. Think dried fruit, honey, nutty notes, complex, ages beautifully.
That sounds intriguing. I'm always up for trying something new.
I think you'd really enjoy it. It's a testament to how diverse Sardinian wines can be.
So it's really these native grapes that set Sardinian wine apart.
Yeah, they're not just grapes. They're like threads woven through the history and culture of the island. That's what makes these wines so compelling, you know? It's a taste of that ancient heritage.
That really makes me want to know more about how they actually make these wines. Because
Mm.
you don't get that kind of character by accident, right?
Oh, no, no, no. It's a real art form. It's a delicate balance, between tradition and innovation. But let's step into the cellars. I'll show you what I mean. Before we even get to the cellars, we got to talk about the vineyards. What these Sardinian growers do out there. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it's got to be more than just planting vines and hoping for the best.
Oh, yeah. They're masters of adapting to the climate. Specific pruning techniques, managing those vines. And they even select drought-resistant rootstock. Gotta handle those dry conditions.
So even before the grapes make it to the winery, there's this whole level of expertise already.
Exactly. They're working with nature, not against it.
And then, when it comes to the winemaking itself, are we talking strictly traditional methods? Or is there some modern stuff mixed in?
It's a cool mix, actually. You'll find wineries using these ancient methods. Cement tanks, large wooden vats, letting the natural yeasts do their thing. It's like a direct link to the past.
Yeah, there's something really romantic about that connection to, like, generations of winemakers.
I know, right? But they're not afraid to embrace modern techniques either.
Mm.
Temperature control during fermentation, micro-oxygenation. It's all about using the best tools, whether they're ancient or cutting edge, to get the most out of those Sardinian grapes.
So a little bit of the old and the new, all in the name of good wine.
That's the Sardinian way.
All right, so before we get lost in the, like, aromas and flavors and all that, can we talk about how to actually decipher a Sardinian wine label? Because I'm still a bit confused about this whole DOCG, DOCIGT
Oh,
system.
yeah, that can be a little tricky if you're not familiar with it. It's basically Italy's way of guaranteeing quality and protecting the character of their wines.
Okay, so break it down for me. What's the top tier? Like the one that screams, this is good stuff.
That would be DOCG, Denominazione di Origine Controllata e Garantita. Bit of a mouthful, but it basically means the wine meets the strictest standards for that specific region.
So like a gold medal for wine.
Exactly.
And does Sardinia have any of these, like, super prestigious DOCGs?
Of course. Vermentino di Glalura, DOCG. That guarantees you're getting that bright, citrusy Vermentino from the Gallura region made with specific Vermentino grapes. Strict rules, top quality.
Got it. So DOCG is like the king of the castle. What about DOC then?
DOC, Denominazione di Origine Controllata, it's a step below DOCG. Still really strict rules, but a little more flexibility. For those powerful Cannonau wines you were asking about earlier, look for Cannonau di Sardegna DOC. And if you love Carignano, keep an eye out for Carignano del Sulcis DOC. There's even a Monaco di Sardegna DOC for those later reds.
So many DOCs.
Yeah.
But what about wines that don't have any of these classifications? Are they worth exploring, or should I stick to the DOCs and DOCGs?
Oh, no, definitely explore those too. You'll find some really interesting wines from producers who are experimenting outside the DOC system, pushing boundaries.
Okay, so there's something for everyone, it seems. We've covered the history, the grapes, the classifications. Now let's talk about the actual experience of drinking these wines. You were talking about those captivating sensory details earlier. Can you bring those to life for us?
Close your eyes for a second. Imagine you're sipping a glass of Sardinian wine. You're tasting the warmth of that Mediterranean sun in the ripe fruit, a hint of spice from those island winds, maybe even a touch of minerality from that volcanic soil. It's like a liquid postcard from Sardinia.
Okay, you're definitely painting a picture here. I'm starting to get it. Now, I can't imagine drinking these wines without some amazing Sardinian food. What are we eating?
Oh, man. The food? Think succulent roast suckling pig? Porcedu, it's called. Paired with a bold Cannonau, perfect match. Or a delicate seafood pasta with a crisp Vermentino. The wine's citrus notes, they just brighten those seafood flavors beautifully.
Okay, my mouth is officially watering. This is making me want to book a trip to Sardinia.
Yeah.
And not just for the food and wine. I mean, the scenery has to be incredible too, right?
It's breathtaking. Picture yourself cycling through rolling vineyards, ocean breeze in your hair, tasting wine with those stunning views in the background. You've got beaches, mountains, ancient sites, all woven together with these picturesque vineyards.
So it's a whole other dimension to experiencing Sardinian wine, right? Actually going to the source.
Absolutely. Tourism is huge in Sardinia. You can visit these small family-run wineries, get that traditional experience, or explore these larger modern estates, see how they're pushing boundaries with technology. Something for everyone.
So I could spend a week there and not even scratch the surface, it sounds like. Is there anything unique about the winery experiences in Sardinia? Like, are there specific things people should seek out?
Oh, yeah, for sure. You can find guided tastings, where you really delve into those complex notes in a Vernaccia di Oristano. And they have these festivals celebrating wine and local culture. So much energy, so much passion.
Man, you're making it sound irresistible. But let's talk about the real world for a second. What are some of the challenges Sardinian wine is facing these days?
Well, climate change, that's a big one. Like a lot of wine regions, they're dealing with changing weather patterns, droughts, increased risk of disease. It's a constant battle.
Yeah, I can imagine. It takes real dedication to keep those traditions alive in the face of all that.
It does. But, it's almost like these challenges are pushing them to be even more sustainable. Using those ancient adaptable grapes, experimenting with new techniques to ensure the future of their wines.
So it's a constant evolution. That's pretty inspiring, actually. All right, so amidst all this change and challenge, are there any wineries that are really standing out? Like leading the charge?
Oh, absolutely. If you want that iconic Sardinian wine experience, you got to visit Cantina di Sant'Adi. They're renowned, for producing some of the most sought after wines, especially their Carignano da Sulcis. They've really helped put Sardinian wine on the map globally.
So they're kind of like the pioneers paving the way for others.
Yeah, you could say that. They've really embraced tradition while also innovating, respecting the island's heritage, but also pushing boundaries. And they offer tours of their vineyards and cellars so you can see their sustainable practices firsthand and, of course, taste the wines.
Sounds like a must visit. What about for someone who's, really curious about those white wines we were talking about earlier? Any recommendations?
If you're in the Gallura region, known for its Vermentino, Capicera is a must. They make some of the most elegant, complex Vermentinos on the island, really distinct minerality, captivating aromas.
Okay, Capicera noted. And I got asked about Argiolas. Their Touriga, I've heard whispers about it. Is it worth the hype?
Argiola is another legendary Sardinian winery. And yeah, their Touriga, it's a blend, mostly Cannonau, and it's considered an icon. Complex, powerful, intense aromas of ripe fruit, spice, that earthiness we talked about, and it ages like a dream.
A wine to, like, savor and contemplate, it sounds like. What's their winery like?
It's beautiful, stunning views of the Sardinian countryside, really immersive experience.
You've given me so much to think about, so much to explore, but we got to talk about the big picture here. What does the future hold for Sardinian wine?
It's definitely a time of challenge and change, no doubt, but I think what gives me hope is that these Sardinian winemakers, they're passionate, dedicated, and they're fiercely protective of their heritage.
It's good to hear. Sounds like they're not going down without a fight.
No, sir, not at all. They're experimenting, exploring new grape varieties, but always staying true to what makes Sardinian wine so special.
It's a beautiful thing, respecting the past, embracing the future.
It is. It's what makes these wines so compelling.
Before we wrap this up, is there anything else essential to understanding Sardinian wine? Any, parting wisdom you want to leave us with?
The most important thing to remember is that Sardinian wine, it's not just a beverage. It's a story, a culture, a way of life woven into the fabric of this island. It's funny, we've been talking about these wines for a while now, and I keep coming back to this idea, what really makes them stand out? On a global scale, I
It's
mean,
more than just the grapes, right? Like, even though those are pretty special.
it's a lot of things, I think. I mean, the isolation of the island definitely played a role. Those traditions could develop for centuries without a lot of outside influence.
Yeah, they haven't been, swept up in trends or anything. They've really held on to their own identity.
Exactly. And there's this real sense of place in the wines, a personality, that you just don't find everywhere.
Just like that connection to the land, the history. You can taste it.
That's it, yeah. And that's what makes them so interesting to me, so compelling. It's a taste of something different, something real.
It's almost like taking a sip and being transported there, to those vineyards with the sun and the sea breeze. It's
Yeah.
kind of wild.
I love that. Yeah, it's like wine can be this portal, right? To another place, another time.
It can, yeah. It's pretty powerful when you think about it.
And with Sardinian wines, I think it's a portal to this place that's really held on to its soul, its authenticity, it's special.
Yeah, and you get that in the wines themselves, too. They're bold, rustic. They don't hold back. I mean, that's the terroir coming through, right?
Absolutely. These are wines that make you pay attention. They make you think. They tell a story.
And they tell that story even better alongside some amazing Sardinian food. I know you mentioned porcedu and seafood pasta before. What else should we be having?
Oh man, where do I even start? Fregola, this toasted pasta, often with saffron and shellfish. Delicious. or pain carousel. It's this incredibly thin, crispy bread, perfect for like scooping up sauces. And then, of course, pecorino sardo. You gotta have some sheep's milk cheese with your Sardinian wine. It's a must.
Okay, you're killing me here. I'm gonna have to book a flight soon.
Yeah.
And you mentioned eno-tourism earlier. Aside from the wineries themselves, are there any other highlights, things people should see or do while they're there?
Oh, tons. I mean, the island is full of history. You've got those nuraghi, those ancient stone towers we were talking about earlier. And the coastline is just stunning. Beaches, hidden coves, crystal clear water.
So it's really a whole sensory experience. It's not just about the wine.
Exactly. You can hike in the mountains, explore those little villages, really immerse yourself in the culture. It's an adventure, you know?
Sounds like it. Well, I think we've given our listener a pretty incredible overview of Sardinian wine. We've gone from like the ancient roots to the modern challenges, talked
Mhm.
about the terroir, the winemaking,
Yeah.
all of it.
We've covered those native grapes, the food pairings, the experiences you can have there. It's been a journey.
It really has. And this is just the beginning, I think. For anyone listening who's intrigued by these wines, there's so much more to explore.
I agree. And that's the beauty of it, right? There's always more to discover, more to taste, more to experience. It's a journey that never really ends.
Well said. So, to our listener, we raise a glass to Sardinia, to its wines, its people, and to the spirit of adventure that you find in every bottle.
Cheers to that. And may your next wine adventure lead you to the shores of this beautiful island. You won't regret it.